Hello everyone, welcome to this video lecture of Irrigation Engineering. This is Sukamal Ghosh, Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering Department, Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management, JS Group. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about design of unlined alluvial canal based on Lacey's regime theory. So, Mr. Garlett Lacey was a chief engineer of UP Irrigation Department. He carried out a detailed study on the design of stable channel in alluvium. It means the channel constructed in alluvial soil. He developed the regime theory and also evolved the numbers of equations on the basis of his own observation and the earlier investigations done by various researchers such as Kennedy. These equations are widely accepted and the whole subject become associated with his name and popularly known as Lacey's regime theory. Okay. In our previous lectures, we have discussed that Kennedy indicated the silt carried by the flowing water in a canal is kept in suspension solely by the vertical component of the eddies generated from the bed of the channel. But based on his investigation, Lacey concluded the silt carried by the flowing water in a canal is kept in suspension by the vertical component of the eddies generated from the bed of the channel as well as from the side of the channel. It means, according to Lacey, the silt carried by the flowing channel is kept in suspension by the vertical component of the eddies which are generated from the perimeter of the channel. Okay. Moreover, he suggested that even if a channel is showing no silting and no scoring, it may not be a regime channel actually. Okay. Actually, Kennedy concluded if a channel is showing no silting and no scoring, then it can be called as regime channel. But according to Lacey, a channel may be showing no silting or no scoring, but it may not be regime actually. Okay. Therefore, he gave three regime conditions. The first one is true regime, then the initial regime and the final regime. Okay. Actually, Lacey also concluded the channel constructed in alluvium to carry certain discharge, the width, the depth and the slope will undergo modification by silting and scoring till the equilibrium condition attained. Once the equilibrium attained, then the channel will be called as regime channel. Okay. Now, so an artificially constructed channel having certain fixed section and certain fixed slope can behave as a regime only if these conditions are satisfied. What are these conditions? The first condition is the discharge should be constant. Okay. Then the flow should be uniform. Then the silt charge should be constant. It means the amount of silt is constant. It means actually the amount of silt entering into the channel must be carried throughout. Okay. Now the silt grade should be constant. It means the type and the size of silt should be same. Okay. And the canal is flowing through an incoherent alluvium. Okay. Now what is this incoherent alluvium? See, a soil which can be scored as easily, it can be deposited as known as incoherent alluvium. Okay. Now, in practice, these conditions, these 5 conditions cannot be satisfied. Okay. Therefore, an artificial channel can never be a true regime. Okay. It can be an initial regime or it can be a final regime. Okay. Now what is the initial regime condition? See, the initial regime condition is the first stage of regime attained by a channel after it is in service. It means initial regime condition is the first stage of regime attained by a channel after the channel start its service. Now in initial regime condition, the bed slope of the channel get adjusted. See, in our second last slide, we have discussed that Lacey concluded a channel constructed in alluvium to carry certain discharge, the width, the depth and the bed slope of the channel will undergo modification due to silting and scoring till equilibrium is attained. Okay. Now, in initial regime condition, only the bed slope of the channel will undergo modification due to silting and scoring. Okay, you can see here the bed slope of the channel is increased. It means the bed slope of the channel adjusted by silting and scoring. Okay. Now, here is the important point that Lacey's theory is not applicable for initial regime. Okay. Lacey's theory is only applicable to final regime. Okay. Now, let's discuss about final regime. Now, in final regime condition, a channel attained the ultimate state of regime. In the final regime condition, the bed slope, the depth of flow and the width of channel are adjusted in order to obtain a stable channel section, unlike the initial regime condition. See, we have just discussed that in the initial regime condition, only the bed slope of the channel get adjusted. But in the final regime condition, the bed slope, the depth of flow and the width of channel, these all parameters are adjusted in order to obtain a stable channel section. Now, Lacey observed a channel in which these all variables, means this bed slope, this depth of flow and the width of channel are equally free to vary, has the tendency to attain a semi-elliptical section. It means Lacey concluded that a channel which attained the ultimate state of regime has a tendency to attain the semi-elliptical shape. Okay, and this kind of channel which attained the ultimate state of regime are known as permanent regime. Okay. Now, so as we discussed that Lacey indicated a regime channel has a tendency to attain a semi-elliptical section. Okay. So, this is a cross section of a regime channel as per indication of Lacey. See, this is a semi-elliptical shape. Okay. So, for the finer silt, this is the cross section, and for the coarser silt, this is the cross section. Okay. Now, so as we discussed in our earlier slide of this particular lecture, that Lacey evolved number of equations based on his own observation and the previous investigations done by various researchers such as Kennedy. Now, out of these 14 equations, this equation, this one and this equation has developed by Lacey based on his own observation and the previous investigations. So, these 4 equations are the fundamental equations of Lacey. Now, the rest of the equations are derived from these 4 fundamental equations. Okay. So, as we discussed that these are the fundamental equations given by Lacey, and rest of the equations are derived from these 4 equations. Okay. Now, we have also discussed in our earlier slides of this particular lecture that Lacey concluded the silt carrying by the flowing water in a canal is kept in suspension by the vertical component of the eddies which are generated throughout the perimeter of the channel, and that is why Lacey has given a relation between the mean velocity and the hydraulic mean radius, and this hydraulic mean radius is the function of weighted perimeter P. See, we know that hydraulic mean depth or this hydraulic mean radius is equal to the cross sectional area of the channel divided by the weighted perimeter of the channel, and that is why Lacey has given the relation between mean velocity and the weighted perimeter, because Lacey concluded the silt which is kept in suspension by the eddies, and the eddies are generated throughout the perimeter. Okay. Now, apart from this relation, Lacey has also given a relation between the cross-sectional area, the mean velocity and the silt factor F. Now what is this silt factor? See, Lacey introduced silt factor F to make his equations applicable for the channels flowing through different types of soil. Okay, and he has also given the values of silt factor for different types of soil. Okay, see, for fine silt the silt factor value is 0.5 to 0.7. For medium silt the value of silt factor is 0.85. For standard silt the value of silt factor is 1. For medium and coarser sand the value of silt factor are 1.25 and 1.5 respectively. Okay, and also Lacey has given a equation for calculation of silt factor F, that is 1.76 square root of D. This D is the average particle size in millimeter. Also, Lacey has given a relation between the mean velocity and the bed slope and the Hydrolic mean depth or Hydrolic mean radius. Okay. Now these are the nomenclatures. This V is the mean velocity of flow in meter. The R is the Hydrolic mean radius as we discussed in meter. F is the silt factor. D mm is the average particle size in millimeter, and S is the bed slope. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the various equations which are derived from those four fundamental equations. The first equation is relation between the mean velocity, the discharge and the silt factor, which is given by V, means mean velocity is equals to Q into F square divided by 140 to the power 1 by 6. Okay. So how can we derive this equation from those four fundamental equations? Let's discuss. See, we know that Q is equals to AV, right? Now if you multiply F square in both sides, you will have, right? Now if you recall our last slide, see, this is equation which is AF square is equals to 140 V to the power 5. Okay. So if you put that value, that QF square equal to this AF square is equal to 140 V to the power 5 into V. Okay. So if you simplify it, you will have QF square is equals to 140 V to the power 6. Okay. From here you will have V is equals to Q into F square divided by 140 whole to the power 1 by 6. Okay. So in this way you can derive this particular equation with the help of one of those fundamental equations. Okay. So this is another equation derived by Lacey from those fundamental equations, and this is a relation between the discharge and the weighted perimeter, and is given by P, that is weighted perimeter, is equals to 4.75 into square root of Q, that is discharge. So how can we derive this particular equation? Let's discuss. See, from the fundamental equations we know that V is equals to 2 by 5 into F into R. Okay. Now squaring both sides, you will have V square is equal to 2 by 5 into F into R. Now again squaring both sides, you will have V to the power 4 is equal to 4 by 25 F square R square. Okay. Now we know that R is equal to A by P, right? So if you put it here, then you will have right? So from here, if you want to calculate the value of f square, you will have correct. Now, so we also know that af square is equal to 140 into b to the power 5, right, from the fundamental equations. Now, if you put the value of f square, means this expression, in the place of f square, you will have 25 divided by 4 into v to the power 4 into p square divided by a square is equal to 140 v to the power 5, right? Now, this a will be cancelled with the a and you will have only a, okay, and this v4 will be cancelled by this v5 and you will have only v, okay. So from here you will have 25 divided by 4 into p square is equal to divided by a equal to 140 into v, okay. From here you will have p square is equal to 140 v into a into 4 divided by 25, okay. Now if you simplify it, you will have p square is equal to 22.4 into this v into a. We know that v into a is equals to q, right? We know that q is equal to av, right? So from here you will have this q. From here you will have p is equal to 4.75 square root of q, okay. In this way you can derive this particular equation, okay. Now, so these are the other equations derived by Lacy from those fundamental equations, okay. See, this particular equation is a relation between the bed slope, the discharge and the silt factor. In the same way, this particular equation is the relation between the score depth, the discharge and the silt factor, okay. In this way, this particular equation is the relation between the normal score depth, the discharge intensity and the silt factor. Also, this equation is the relation between the bed slope, the hydraulic mean depth or hydraulic mean radius and the silt factor, okay. And this is a relation between the velocity, silt factor and hydraulic mean radius. Actually, this particular equation has been derived from the basic equation of Lacy's theory, that was v is equals to root over 2 by 5 f into r, okay. If you square both sides, you will have v square is equal to 2 by 5 into f into r, okay. And from here you will have r is equal to 5 by 2 v square divided by f, basically this expression, okay. In this way you can derive all the equations from those 4 fundamental equations, okay. Now we are going to discuss about the steps involved to design an unlined alluvial canal using Lacy's regime theory. So if the value of discharge, that is q, is given and the value of mean particle size, that is dmm, is given, then this following steps we need to perform to design an unlined alluvial canal based on Lacey's regime theory. So our first step is we need to calculate the silt factor using this particular equation, that is silt factor F is equals to 1.76 into square root of dmm. Okay. Now in our second step we need to calculate the velocity, means the mean velocity, using this particular equation, that is V is equals to Q into F square divided by 140 whole to the power 1 by 6. We have derived this particular equation in our earlier slides, right? Now in step 3 we need to calculate the cross sectional area of the channel which we need to design. Okay, and using this particular formula, that is A is equals to Q by V, we need to determine the cross sectional area. See, we know that Q is equals to AV, right? From here we can write that A is equals to Q divided by V. Okay, so this is nothing but this particular formula. Okay, now in step 4 we need to calculate the weighted perimeter using this particular formula which was derived by Lacey from the fundamental equations, that is P means the weighted perimeter is equal to 4.75 into square root of Q, that is discharge, and the value of discharge should be in Qmax or meter cube per second. Okay, now in step 5 we need to select a cross section for the channel which we need to design. Okay, and as we discussed for Kennedy's theory also, that generally we consider trapezoidal section with a side slope of 1 by 2 horizontal to 1 vertical. Okay, now in step 6 we need to derive an expression of area for the selected cross section. Okay, and if you select the trapezoidal cross section with a side slope of 1 by 2 horizontal and 1 vertical, then you will have this particular expression for the area. Okay, in step 7 we need to derive an expression of weighted perimeter for the selected cross section. Okay, and if you select the trapezoidal cross section with a side slope of 1 by 2 horizontal to 1 vertical, then you will have this particular expression for the weighted perimeter. Okay, now in step 8 we need to equate the weighted perimeter expression that we have got from step 7 and the weighted perimeter value from step 4. It means we need to equate this particular expression to the value we have got from this formula. Okay, in step 9 we need to equate the area expression that we have got from step 6 and the area value that we have got from step 3. It means we need to equate this particular expression to the value we have got using this particular formula. Okay, now in step 10 we need to calculate the hydraulic mean depth or the hydraulic mean radius using these two expressions. Okay, it means we need to use both of these expressions to calculate the hydraulic mean depth or the hydraulic mean radius, and the values that we will get from these two expressions should be equal. Then only we can consider that whatever the steps we have performed from step 1 to step 9 are correct. Okay, and in step 11 we need to calculate the bed slope using this particular formula. Okay, so this is all about the Lacey's regime theory. Now next lecture we will discuss a design problem based on this Lacey's regime theory, and we will also compare the Lacey's theory and the Kennedy's theory, and we will also discuss the limitations or the drawbacks of Lacey's theory. Till then, stay safe and stay happy. Thank you.